All right, boys and girls. So I'm going to again share our Bible verse for the week. 2 Corinthians 5:21 says, God made him who had no sin to be sin for us so that we might become the righteousness of God. So we have the opportunity to go to heaven when we die. I want you guys to think about your siblings. All right. So we all have siblings in this class. We all are trying to think. Everyone has a sibling. So think about your sibling. You might be able to relate to this little short story I have for you. You're watching your brother kick his soccer ball around the living room. Your mother has told both of you soccer balls are not allowed in the house. Your brother kicks the ball too hard. It hits a lamp. Scared, he runs away, leaving you there with the ball, and Mom walks in. Mom blames you and sends you to your room. How would it make you feel to take the blame or penalty for something you did not do? And as a teacher, I can say that happens. That's happened in here before, right? Where maybe a teacher thinks one person did something and they did not do it. And typically the response is they tell the teacher, I did not do that. So they don't want to take the consequence for someone else's actions, right? We're not just like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll take their punishment, even though I'm not the one that did it. Our natural instinct is to argue and to say, no, we didn't do that. That was their fault. That was them. They did that, right? But the same thing happened with Jesus. He died on the cross. Even though he was innocent, he took the punishment of our sin, the penalty of our mistakes. We'll read from the Bible that Jesus submitted to God's plan by being the innocent lamb who paid the penalty and atoned for our sin. Okay, so turn in your Bibles to Isaiah chapter 53, verses 1 through 12. So in these verses, God is prophesying to Isaiah that the righteous servant would be coming to earth. He doesn't give a time, but he says that he will come to save the people and bear the sins of everyone. God gave some very specific details to the prophets about this righteousness, about this righteous servant, the lamb that would be slaughtered. And he would be able to be recognized by characteristics and events that would take place. All right, so I'm not sure if I put a lamb in your packet. If I did, do this. If I did not, don't worry about it. Okay, so if you have a lamb, I want you to look up that verse that you have on there. Once you've done that, write a word or two that reminds you of the truth about Jesus from the verse on the line. There's a line below the lamb of a verse that reminds you about a truth of Jesus. All right. So if you have that, go ahead and do that. Pause me to do that. And I'm going to keep going. So if you have a lamb, it would look like this. If not, it is okay. All right, so I'm going to read from Isaiah 53, verse 1 through 12. Who has believed our message, and to whom has the arm of the Lord been revealed? He grew up before him like a tender shoot, like a root out of dry ground. He had no beauty or majesty to attract us to him, nothing in his appearance that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and familiar suffering. Like one from whom men hide their faces, he was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he took up our infirmities and carried our sorrows, yet we considered him stricken by God, smitten by him, and afflicted. But he was pierced for our transgressions, he was crushed for our iniquities. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him. By his wounds we are healed. We all like sheep have gone astray. Each of us has turned to his own way. The Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. He was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before his shears is silent, so he did not open his mouth. By oppression and judgment he was taken away. Who can speak of his descendants? For he was cut off from the land of living. For the transgression of my people he was stricken. He was assigned a grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death. Though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth, yet it was the Lord's will to crush him and cause him to suffer. Though the Lord makes his life a guilt offering, he will see his offspring and prolong his days. And the will of the Lord will prosper in his hand. After the suffering of his soul, he will see the light of life and be satisfied. By his knowledge, my righteous servant will justify many, and he will bear their iniquities. Therefore I will give him a portion among the great, and he will divide the spoils with the strong. Because he poured out his life unto death, and was numbered with the transgressors. For he bore the sin of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. All right, I'm going to pause there before my